The Illuminati drama was over a year ago now, which is crazy to say, but it was. And in contrast to some other people that I've covered throughout my time on YouTube, Illuminaughtii has not really changed for the better. She's still kind of a psychopath. She didn't have to do it. Like, she just went out of her way to try and exact revenge on these people for no reason other than just pure spite and, like, hatred of them. She's currently suing Oz Media. She's trying to foreclose his house. It's a crazy situation. But today I thought it would be good to take a look back at the drama and kind of see if we can examine some of her motivations and what makes her so mentally disturbed. How many of you remember the Illuminaughtii drama? This was a big deal on YouTube, okay? This is a big deal. I think I milked the f*** out of that drama. I absolutely milked it.
I beg your pardon?
Wasn't that long ago? I think it was like a year. I guess I'm always curious how many of the people that watch my streams have seen a lot of the videos, because it's hard for me to tell sometimes, because the stream channel has like a life of its own at this point. But if you look up Tom Dark, Illuminaughtii, I want to say I made like 8 videos about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 6 on Tom Dark at least. 7. And then I also did the main channel video. But this, fun fact, this video is actually cited in, a fucking lawsuit that's Illuminaughtii filed against Oz Media. Okay, filed against Oz Media. I won that game, okay? I was cited in the lawsuit. But it was cited in a lawsuit, and I thought that it would be fun to kind of take a look at, because to be clear, I'm not getting sued. Oz Media is getting sued, but my video was cited as like evidence of his false claims propagating to the internet. But I thought it would be good to take a look at this drama, to look back at it, and kind of see where it went. And thankfully, one of my favorite video essay channels that you should all subscribe to, because I do like his videos a lot. Jimmy Robbins posted a video called Illuminauti's Downfall 1 year later, with the thumbnail not done yet. So I thought it would be interesting to take a look at this, because Jimmy Robbins, generally, I agree with his analysis. Even if I don't agree, he generally, you know, has an easy time explaining how he got there, and I can get his perspective. And I think he's probably one of the best video essayists in like the commentary space. And he made this video, Illuminati's Downfall 1 year later, that I'm curious to take a look at.
2 years ago, Blair, aka Illuminaughtii, was a beloved YouTuber known for fighting the good fight against injustice. Whether it was speaking out against animal cruelty or pyramid schemes and financial scams, she was seen as making the world a better place, one video essay at a time. But last year, that all changed overnight. And while I want to talk about the incredibly dense year Blair has had, it's worth remembering how the hell we got here in the
thing is, I'm always very, very skeptical of people who claim that their channel is like fighting the good fight or like doing the right thing, because there are some YouTubers who will do that. You know, I would say like one good one that comes to mind is Ruben Sim. You know, I think he does do good work in the Roblox community and like banning predators and trying to get Roblox to change around their, you know, moderation, to do a better job of protecting children from bad actors in the community. But there's very few exceptions where that's the case. With someone like Blair Zahn, who was running an absolute content farm, okay, an absolute content farm. She was making so many videos. It's hard for me to believe that someone like that that's making that much money is also always interested in doing the right thing, right? It's possible that you can do the right thing while also making a lot of money, but it's hard for me to think that her priority in the end was just doing the right thing above all else, right? But her priority to me seemed to be mostly just making as many videos as possible and getting as many views as possible. And the videos weren't anything that special either, so I don't know. I was never really a fan of her videos. I'm sure there's some that she's made that are pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if I've had some crossover with her channel in the past, but yeah, I just don't really think her videos are ever that amazing, to be honest. I discovered your channel from this drama. That's interesting. Well, it was a really fun drama to watch, because she's one of these people who, I think that she had built up this reputation of like fighting the good fight for her audience, and she was like seen as like a virtuous person, and so she had such a dramatic downfall once people realized that she was a complete psycho. But she also handled it really, really poorly. She handled it super poorly.
As you might remember, Illuminaughtii suddenly came out in April of 2023 and publicly accused fellow YouTuber Legal Eagle of essentially plagiarizing her videos. But such a serious accusation was based on nothing more than his editors using similar visuals to hers, visuals that are pretty common, bordering on generic, in non-fiction media. So right away this was seen as being bafflingly petty, because what she was describing, that's perfectly normal. Your style in doing literally anything is going to borrow ideas from others. Like, I didn't invent the slow zoom you see right now, but it'd be weird if some French new wave director got all pissy about it, right? So amidst this crack in the Illuminaughtii brand,
but it's not only that, it's also like Blair was never even the first person to do a highlighter effect on YouTube. Like, people have been doing that. Like, Game Theory has been doing it for like 10 years. Everybody has done a highlighter effect at one point or another. But the funny thing is, none of this ever would have even come out if she hadn't made that accusation. Or maybe it would have eventually, but I think it was pretty unlikely that it would have come out anytime soon if she hadn't made that accusation towards Legal Eagle which then imploded her entire career. It wasn't just a bad take from her. It was like a completely wrong take. And to this day, I don't understand how she thought that that would go well. Like, had she never, like, the only explanation, if she's in her right mind, and she thought that she was being honest, was that she had never seen another person's YouTube video before, ever. That is the only reasonable explanation for why she would accuse Legal Eagle of stealing the highlighter effect. Like, there's literally no reasonable explanation for why she would make that accusation, other than she had never, ever seen another YouTube video in her life, which is not true because she's a fucking YouTuber.
The Click, One Topic, Wonderstruck, and Oz Media, 4 creators who once shared the collab channel Sad Milk with Blair, detailed their experiences with Blair using her mass resources to try and ruin their lives and careers in response to personal and professional conflicts.
Just to get back at an ex-colleague, she did this. She paid people to dig up dirt, make alt accounts, harass me for months. Why?
You lied, and I can only think that's because you wanted us gone, not just off of YouTube. You wanted these lies to come into our everyday life offline.
This was especially bad for Wonder and Oz, who were both employed by and lived with Blair, a dynamic that she would allegedly exploit often.
But also what's so interesting about, because, you know, I remember the, like, interpersonal beefs with, like, this guy's suicide note. That was pretty bad. By the way, this guy has a new channel that I haven't seen a ton of the videos, but they are pretty good. He does, like, lolcow content, and it's pretty good content, I'll say. So Blair, keep in mind, was in a position where she was an extremely wealthy YouTuber, right? She makes a ton of money. She has a whole business she's running. She has all these YouTube friends. And, you know, she had some falling outs over personal stuff with some YouTube friends, which she was kind of wrong for in the first place, the way that it went down, but that's kind of besides the point. After she has these falling outs, instead of just letting it go, she tries to pay people to dig up dirt on them to, like, expose them. I do not understand why. Like, to this day, I still find that very perplexing, because she didn't have to do it. Like, she just went out of her way to try and exact revenge on these people for no reason other than just pure spite and, like, hatred of them. All they want for Christmas is some Nevergoon merch. Well, unfortunately, it's out of stock. But yeah, I just don't understand this. It's not even, I feel like vindictive doesn't even begin to describe it. There's something else. It's like some kind of pathological need to destroy the lives of people who have barely slighted you. Like, if you're still thinking about people who have wronged you 5 years later, and the worst thing they did was, like, leave a channel of yours, and you're trying to get their, like, life and career ruined, like, there has to be something seriously psychologically messed up inside your head. I think that she is a crazy person who needs a serious therapist. What she needed to do is go to the gym. I mean, I think that would have helped. I don't know if that would have done it for her, but I do think that would have helped her quite a bit. I'll say that. Might have gotten out a little bit of that negative energy instead of channeling it into eating Cheetos, for sure.
Had a hand in every single aspect of my life, and at any moment she could take it away when she felt, which is exactly what happened.
As you can see with Wonder, Blair has a habit of taking advantage of younger men, 8 years younger than her, and their financial illiteracy for her own personal gain.
And this behavior has been labeled by some as almost a form of modern slavery, where Blair was specifically aiming to put them in debt that she knew they couldn't repay in order to gain complete control over them.
I was extremely uncomfortable with someone making such a large payment towards a vehicle on my behalf, but in Blair's words, she had the money and insisted that I get the car. After a few more discussions, she eased me into the idea that this car was a good move and would really change my life.
This document gave...
Yeah, it's definitely a good move to, when you're like 19 years old, get like a $40,000 BMW. Couldn't have just gotten like a Camry or like a Corolla. couldn't have gotten that. You had to get a BMW. Oh, are you sure we need the BMW? Blair's like, oh, I'm so sure you need it. All right, this will improve your life. You won't be sad anymore ever. Once you sit inside this Beamer, you will be amazing. It's like, what the fuck? Why? Beautiful princess disorder? You think that's what Blair has? I would call it more like obese princess disorder in Minecraft. Thank you for the dono, Isabella.
Gave her the power to foreclose if I was unable to make a monthly payment of nearly $2,500 for nearly a decade. Blair knew that even with my income working for her, that this wasn't possible. It feels as though she knew that I would be destined to fall behind, that this outcome was inevitable.
These circumstances grew especially troubling for Oz, who was in a romantic relationship with her for some time and came within inches of losing his house.
What I can only describe as retaliation from the person who's my ex, former employer, and prior colleague Blair is in the process of currently foreclosing my home.
Now, all of this breaking was terrible for Blair. I mean, just scratching the surface, we were looking at her spreading false rumors of the clique supporting those attracted to children.
Here is Sadmilk posting on the 1st of November, 3:28 a.m. that Salty Click and OT will not be continuing the new journey with Sadmilk and we're leaving the channel. And here's a tweet from Illuminaughtii saying, casual reminder, pedophilia is never a gray area. Immediately after announcing her departure from Sadmilk, within 3 hours, this statement was made by Illuminaughtii and retweeted by Sadmilk. This, as anyone would know, started many rumors.
Trying to use these rumors in order.
Yeah, what happened there was because he's not really going into super in-depth knowledge here on that. Essentially, what happened there was the clique had a Discord server, right? He had this just like relatively normal Discord server, and apparently there was some kind of creeper in it that was banned. But Blair tried to make it seem as if the clique and the mod team were somehow harboring files in their Discord server to like get one over on him. So she was like messaging her collaborators. I think she messaged Oz Media and was like, hey man, I saw this was happening. This is no excuse. And like the issue was already being fixed. But she meanwhile publicly was making this like very vague tweet about him, then saying that he was leaving the channel. And then behind the scenes, she also was on Discord paying one of the members of the Sad Milk channel to try and dig up dirt on the clique saying the N-word 10 years ago to ruin his career. Like, okay, whatever you think about the N-word thing, okay, some of you may know that I would never ever say that word and it's very not funny, but there are some people who think that it's funny. Okay, there are some people. Okay, me personally, just not like that as a black man. I feel like it's disrespectful to me and my brand, but there are people who think that it is a funny word to say. Just attach that. Whatever you think, okay? The side who likes the N-word, the side who doesn't like the N-word, both of these sides came together at this point in time to determine that Blair trying to find clips of this guy from 10 years ago when he had no following saying the N-word and the word retard on Minecraft was fucking evil, and it was. And then she was like posting about it on Reddit. She was like, she was like, yo, look at what this guy did 10 years ago. Cancel him. It's hilarious. You wouldn't let anyone say it in front of you either. That's very true. Yeah. If I saw someone say that word in front of me, I would beat them up. I would kick their fucking ass, all right? I stay silent when a black woman is speaking, and I'm the black woman. So you guys need to sit your white asses down and listen.
In order to socially and professionally isolate him.
I think one topic is a liar and a sham and has been pandering to our community. If he stays friends with someone like this, he is using us for money.
Straight up extorting people with less wealth than her, fostering a hostile work environment both as an employer and partner.
During this call, Blair began to become highly irritable and raised tensions where they did not need to be raised. She said, and I quote, "Shut the f up and let me talk for once." I remember it clearly. It was very
alpha male energy, all right? That's Jordan Belfort energy right there. She mogs you.
nasty. Flick, however, tried to remain on the call and mitigate his intentions were for the betterment of the group, but Blair kept berating him. I have never heard Click, a very extroverted and talkative man, remain so quiet.
And developing an obsession with taking these people down. An obsession that became so great that she invested money and countless hours into it.
Hey, listen, Blair, I'm putting this all...
Back in the day, there were signs of this because she had like a falling out with Nicholas Diorio and Tommy C, and she then proceeded to vandalize the Shot from the Point news channel by like forcibly deleting a bunch of videos from the channel without their permission. She did that, which is crazy. Like she never lets it go, despite the fact that on paper her life should be great. Like she's a successful YouTuber, she's got all this money, she's got several employees who work for her. She just couldn't let it go. She was still mad at these people years later, just coping with seething, balding. I mean, money definitely makes it easier to be happy, but if you need proof that it doesn't make everything right, I mean, look at her. She made a bunch of money, but she never resolved whatever her issue is with just being absolutely in pure rage at them over nothing from years ago. You know, I think she copyright struck Nick Diorio back in the day because he criticized her.
Altogether, what kind of cover-up is this? Click was saying these bad things, created differences. Click is a liar. This is all Blair replying to her own announcement under an alt account. Here's a form.
Yeah, she's making alt accounts on Reddit and Twitter to signal boost her own allegation about her friend.
A staff member of hers getting paid to sift through raw audio recordings of me looking for...
I need you to work with this person to help me find Click saying retard in Sad Milk's raw audio. I can do that. Let me go get a shower and I'll be down. She claims she said it in a Sad Milk video, but can't remember which one. And she's over her head with shit. I'll pay you $200 to find it. Bro. You have the PayPal transaction down there. Everyone in chat, I offer you $200 to find an example of Brandon Buckingham saying the word retard, all right? And I'm going to post it on Reddit. He's done. He's done. He's done.
or dirt, more specifically the R word.
All seemingly in response to these people placing small boundaries, pretty much always relying on them removing themselves from the situation after falling victim to her toxic behavior. Now, at first, Blair attempted to respond to this by defending herself and insisting that she was the victim of these 4 creators. But this completely backfired because much of what she said was easily disproven by the others.
And I also got stuck footing the bill too. What quickly transpired was that members either couldn't or wouldn't reimburse me for the editors.
I'd like to state that this quote is both chronologically and directly false. So while yes, Blair did pay for edits, she was always reimbursed for this. As you can see stated on the screen, you will find bank statements I made directly to Sadmilk during its infancy.
And worst of all, she weaponized very intimate parts of Wonder's mental health to try to portray him as being too unstable to be trusted.
What she did to Wonder is the most gross expose I have ever seen. Not only does she openly share his potential side note,
Which leads me to my next and most painful section, my mental health, which was proudly put on display for the world to see.
So with her image on fire, she decided to retaliate against Wonder, Oz, and Felix, a former employee who helped provide the clique with some of the most damning evidence to come out against Blair.
And once again, like, so the timeline for this, to be clear, is Blair makes her tweet about Legal Eagle. She gets a bunch of shit for it, right? Then a few of her former collaborators come out and they make kind of vague statements about how nuts she is and how they stop working with her. She, in response, does not let it go. She makes an hour-long video responding to them, where she lies about the circumstances of what went on. She publishes Wonder's suicide note, right, against his will. She makes them all seem like crazy people. And then they have to make videos responding where they out her. Like, the thing is, none of them wanted to be in drama. She did, clearly. She thought she could win. But none of them actually wanted to be in this drama. She did. And it destroyed her career. I mean, you look at her channel now. It's not going well. She removed the banner, but Shane Dawson keeps flickering on my screen for some reason. The last video she posted got 140k views, but that's only because all of the comments are shitting all over her. Comments are turned off, actually. Are they turned off on all the videos? Yeah, they are. She turned off comments on like all of them, but she hasn't posted in 10 months. The thing that she's been wrapped up with for 10 months is suing Oz Media and trying to sue Wonderstruck. But I think when I was reading the court documents, I believe she has yet to sue Wonderstruck because she can't figure out how to serve him papers because she or her lawyers are idiots. That seems to be my read on the situation from what I remember from reading it. I could be wrong, but I think that's what was going on. So yeah, because I was following the lawsuit for a little while and just reading it, and I was like, okay, could Oz Media be in the wrong? Could he maybe have, is he somehow at fault for this house thing? Or I was like, did Wonder actually do something wrong? And based on the court documents, there wasn't that many huge revelations about them as far as I could tell. But to my knowledge, I don't think that she's been able to actually serve Wonder.
It started with Illuminaughtii quietly sending out cease and desists while publicly promising transparency, and eventually escalated to lawsuits for slander. Now, it's worth noting that Oz, Wonder, and Felix seem to be getting this treatment because they were by far the easiest targets. For starters, they live in the US, unlike Click and OT, making litigation far more accessible than an international suit. They also likely possess the fewest resources, as they're either smaller creators or, in the case of Felix, they're just someone who happened to have worked for a YouTuber. They were also the ones who were the most legally vulnerable, as all 3 at some point worked for her and thus signed confidentiality agreements that could be exploited should Blair decide to. And boy did she. What started with legal action meant to silence them has escalated to lawsuits meant to sink them, especially Oz.
It is of my opinion that Blair timed these events so I could only fight one, the foreclosure or the lawsuit, not both. I do believe that if I did not speak out against her in April, she would not have put my home through foreclosure proceedings.
I mean, that's 1000% true. The thing is, maybe this guy did fuck up by getting himself in this situation. I mean, he is an adult. He made his own decision ultimately. But at the same time, like, when I say his own decision, I mean with the house and the payments he's making, right? He should have, reviewed the fine print a little more. Feel bad for him because he's young, but he could have, taken more responsibility there. But she is still absolutely trying to fuck him over. And there is no doubt in my mind that she filed the foreclosure documents and started the lawsuit at the same time to make it harder. There's no doubt. It's literally impossible. This is not like a random This is not like a random thing. You don't just happen to file these things at the same time. Tom, you should try a 100 milligram European nicotine pouch. Yeah, I'll do that. What is this controversy again? Okay, so Illuminaughtii was a very big video essay YouTuber. She was extremely popular. She was doing very well. She kind of had a content farm going where she could post like 3 or 4 videos a week. And she also had a bunch of former collaborators that she was working with at some point in time who had basically stopped working with her. They had a collab channel called Sad Milk. It was The Click, Wonderstruck, Oz Media. There's a few others, but those are a few of the big ones. The guy with the blue hair, I don't remember his name. But these guys were all collaborators at some point, and then they split up, and nobody really knew why. The channel just kind of disbanded, but it wasn't a huge deal. Nobody was really speculating around drama too much. But eventually, she decides to one day go out and accuse Legal Eagle, another big channel, kind of in the leftist commentary space, because they're kind of both left-leaning, breadtubey types, right? Not quite, but full on, but, kind of in that realm. She accuses Legal Eagle of plagiarism for editing. Legal Eagle responds, clearly showing that it was not plagiarism. And from there, all of her former collaborators come out to shit on her and kind of vaguely allude to something bad happening behind the scenes. Then what happens is she makes a response video where she lies about a lot of events. She accuses The Click of harboring files in his Discord server. She publishes Wonderstruck's suicide note publicly. And then all of them come out with everything they had on her in absolutely record channel. And so in the subsequent months, she has ran from the internet and is suing Oz Media, and I think trying to sue Wonderstruck for the way that these things went. So yeah, that's basically what happened. Yeah, it's the highlighter thing. Yes, exactly. The highlighter thing. Filing stuff is dumb. Just join the mob instead. I agree. Yeah, just get a loan shark to go to his house. Tony style. That's what we call it.
Proceedings. With these actions, timed alongside the lawsuit, it does make me firmly believe, in my opinion, it's retaliatory in nature.
But thanks to a massively successful crowdfunding push, they've been able to defend themselves in court instead of having to be silent about the abuses they allegedly faced. Though Oz had shared on December 19th, 2023 that he managed to exit foreclosure proceedings with Blair. So while this didn't mark the end of Oz's fight, it did at least afford him some much needed breathing room heading into 2024. Which, by the way, any ongoing fundraising that is relevant will be in the description for if you would like to support in any way. But believe it or not, everything I've talked about so far happened in 2023. And while those were kind of the spark notes, I have an hour-long video from last year that covered all of this in much more detail as it unfolded. Because I want to focus on the past year of Illuminaughtii, a time where she started off swinging hard to keep her career going, but has ended with her disappearing without a trace. Now right away, it's really important to make note of why Blair was in such a vulnerable position. And it comes down to 3 simple components. 1, she placed herself on a very high pedestal. So much of her work was about fighting injustice that she cemented herself as almost a beacon of morality. And the YouTube audience will often be happy to help you onto a pedestal, but they are equally happy to turn against you if that's found to be a facade.
That is a great fucking point. And that's why it's so dangerous as a YouTuber and as a viewer. From the YouTuber's perspective, it's dangerous to become this kind of like, oh, I'm the guy who's fighting, for the right reasons, and I'm doing, the right thing, and, getting they're getting personally invested in all these dramas. And then the audience, on the other hand, when they see that, they're like, oh my God, I'm on the same side as you. We're in this moral crusade together. But the thing you have to acknowledge is that most of the time, the stuff you're making videos about is not going to be some huge moral crusade, right? Illuminaughtii made good videos sometimes, but her video about PETA, right, is not like some game-changing fucking thing, right? It's not like the most groundbreaking video about PETA ever who destroyed them. It's just a fucking YouTube video. It's a video essay. And sometimes video essays can expose serious situations and bring to light serious details that need to be talked about. Like, for example, with CoffeeZilla, who does a lot of videos about influencer scams. He has done a lot of change and good for the YouTube community. Then you also have people like, is it Megalag, who just made the video about Honey, the influencer scam? That is important stuff. But you have to be aware of the fact that not every single piece of content you make is going to be exposing some other person, right? It's at the end of the day, it's YouTube. A lot of it's going to be entertaining, right? Entertainment content. It's not going to be, some kind of moral crusade every time. But that's also the problem that Nick is not green caught up in, right? Where every single video he was making for a while was like some moral crusade where he's owning someone who needs to be owned. He's owning the chuds. He's owning the creepy guy. He's owning the, super mega, or there was another drama he got involved in. Fuck, what was it? Oh yeah, Gus Johnson, right? Everything was some moral crusade. But because he was so emotionally invested in these topics, he ended up fucking himself over because he didn't have the full story. If you're making videos about, public figures or current events, or you're trying to expose someone, your ultimate goal generally should not be to do as much damage to the target. Your goal generally should be to tell the truth of the situation. And if by the end of that story you get to it and it's like, oh, there is actually some really fucked up thing that I'm exposing here, then you should make that public and make a video, and that's fine. But sometimes you're going to explore a story and it's not going to be that crazy, right? It's just not. And you can either choose to publish the story as is and have it be like, you know, the truth of the matter, or you can choose to publish it and sensationalize it and draw conclusions and parallels that aren't there and make points that are not substantiated in evidence. And you might get away with it for a little while, but like in the case of Nick is Not Green, it does bite you in the ass eventually. You should have a Belle Delphine moment and sell anti-goon juice, which is just your armpit sweat with food coloring. I'm not going to do that. Not to mention it was uncovered that she's also a plagiarist. Yeah, that's definitely true. Seemed to be the case to me anyway.
Second, there was the severity of the accusations. YouTuber drama is usually pretty tame. I mean, we normally hear about a bit of ego, some greed, edgy humor that backfires, or at worst, a romantic relationship where the person is accused of abuse. We've never really seen a creator dedicate their life to hurting people like they were the Joker. And the third is the
like she is kind of like the Joker. She's more like the Penguin though, you know, in personality alone. You know, I would call her, she's like the Penguin of YouTube, sort of a Penguin type situation, I would say. Hold on, I actually have an idea now. Wait, hold on. No way. Saving this image. I'm opening Photoshop. I'm opening up Photoshop, chat, okay? I'm opening a new Photoshop file. We have some cooking to do. We have some serious cooking to do right now, chat, okay? We do. Let it be known. All right, here we go. Let me pull up the picture of her. Fuck yeah. All right, here we go, chat. Arts and crafts time. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is remove the background. All right, there we go. So we've got her here. We can probably leave her there for now. We're gonna have to clean up the edges a little bit though, for sure. We have to clean up her edges. She's a messy girl. We're gonna clean it up. We're gonna clean it up, chat. We are. All right, 'cause she's getting, you know, she's got all these kind of rough edges here. We're gonna smoothen her up a bit, make her look nice. All right, sort of a penguin type thing. Sort of a penguin type energy, I would say, for her. Here we go. Okay, yeah, fuck yeah. Just, you know, cleaning up the brown spots here. She made a bit of a mess, potentially in her diaper. I think it's important that we get this right. Imagine she somehow comes back to YouTube. She's like, I've been relentlessly harassed. This guy, Tom, drew me like the penguin. Just finished your turkey time video on the Zoophile fella. Are you holding your editing team's family hostage? I am, actually, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, so we've got that. Now we need to add some details to her. All right, so I'm going to try to do some penguin shit from memory here. So brush size is a little big. So the penguin has a top hat, yes? I feel like he definitely has a top hat. Is it a tall top hat? I feel like it is. He has a top hat, right? It's not like a bowler cap. It's like a really tall hat. There we go. All right, so we got the hat. We should probably carry this around a little more. Yeah, there we go. And this will connect back there. Beautiful. Yes, exactly. Now she's going to need a really big hat for sure. But it's not like the Mad Hatter's hat, because the Mad Hatter's hat kind of goes out at the top, but that's not the situation we're in. This is just like a normal top hat type thing. We're going to do that first. There we go. There we go. All right. Now she needs a monocle for sure. This eye, I think, needs the monocle. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful, big, nice monocle for her. It's going to have a little chain to connect. It's going to go in through her hair over here, all right? Because she still has her luscious locks, okay? It's just going to be tucked in there sort of thing, okay? This is how I do my thumbnails, by the way. I trace pictures of people, and then I add funny details. This is how I do it. All right, there we go. We got her hair. Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. It's coming out great, man. This is exactly what I wanted, frankly. All right, we're going to need to keep going, though. Definitely needs a chin. But the thing about her is she actually has multiple chins, is the thing you may not realize. It's kind of a Sigma male type thing. Sell these as stickers? Can I do that? Can I sell someone else's likeness? Well, I guess it's a parody, right? So hypothetically, I should be able to do it. I feel like it would make sense. She's got her hair, but she definitely needs a bit of a suit. Penguin has a suit, right? I feel like he wears a suit. I feel like he would have a bow tie for sure. And the collar comes up like that. We've got a bit of a unique collar here. A little button here, button there. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And we're gonna need a little bit of a sort of a belly coming out here. All right, so there we got that. And we're gonna need to. Penguin is like a very hunched figure, right? I feel like he's very hunched over. Maybe that's a little too extreme. What does the penguin say? He's like, meh, meh. A little bit of a boogie, a little bit of a booger moment there. Nothing wrong with that. We gotta make sure we get the line. The line of her nose is an extremely important detail. Some people miss, but I would never miss it. No, actually, that looks fucked up. I think she's fine. We'll add the line and shading, maybe. I think that's the way to do it. The eyes need to be more black, though, because the penguin's, like, all messed up. He's got a messed up life. It's also her, like, eyeliner, sort of. You know, a little bit of makeup going on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the penguin also has black stuff dripping from his nose, so I think it makes sense, right? So she's kind of a longer nose. Well, the problem is I don't want to completely misrepresent what's going on, because then it just becomes the penguin. But this is like the Blair penguin, you know what I mean? So this is a very unique thing. Now, the real question is, who is Batman? I don't even know. Maybe we'll just draw Batman for fun. See if we can do this. He's real mad. He's real fucking mad, dude. She's getting caught, dude. He's owning her. He's owning her in the marketplace of ideas. All right, having too much fun. I got to stop drawing. Whatever. Anyway, there you go, chat. There's our stuff, okay? There's our, there's Illuminaughtii getting caught by Batman. It's kind of over for her. As you can see, she's having a rough time, having a bad time even. And that's what really happened in this story is the thing. That's what people don't realize. Draw laser beams from his eyes hitting her? That doesn't even make sense. He's Batman. Whatever. Why not? He's Superman Batman now. But I feel like she'd have to be in severe pain if that was happening, no? I feel like it doesn't really quite make sense. But if you say so. It looks like shit. That was a horrible idea. This is Batman stopping Illuminaughtii from being racist. All right, there you go. That's what we've got going on here. Most people don't realize that's actually what happened in this drama. All right, bit of a sidetrack there. Anyway, getting back to it. Batnips, we're not doing batnips. There will not be any batnips going on. Not partial to the batnip lore, okay? I'm not a fan.
Every time it looked like we've heard everything, new accusations would break. The videos from the 4 main accusers came out over the course of months, and each was both more disturbing and more well-proven than the last. But at the very least, she had her content, right? I mean, she was making videos that people enjoyed, so as long as her reputation as a creator remained intact, maybe she could convince enough people that her reputation as a person shouldn't matter, right? Enter HBomberGuy. See, to call HBomberGuy a video essay YouTuber would actually be putting it pretty mildly. It would instead be more accurate to say that the man truly lives up to his name, disappearing from YouTube for up to a year at a time before dropping a video essay that gets up to tens of millions of views while shaking up YouTube at its core before going back into silence. And in December of 2023, he decided to tackle the rising prevalence of plagiarism on YouTube.
You can spend ages on a unique video with an original idea, and a way more popular guy can rip it off, along with its thumbnail, get a bajillion views and rake in the cash. On YouTube, if you have an original idea, if it's good, it won't be yours for long.
That's true. I assume that some of these guys, like, could probably, like, whoever is getting ripped off, like Brent Rivera, by Brent Rivera, I feel like they could just go after Brent, right? I feel like they could go after him hypothetically and be like, yo, what's going on here? You could take him to court over stealing a video idea and thumbnail, right? I feel like you totally could. I don't really want YouTube to implement like plagiarism detection because YouTube will do a bad job at it. But I think if you have the money, you could take some of these guys to court and it would probably set a good precedent. Although my prediction is that the biggest problem for plagiarism on YouTube in the coming months and years will be like AI plagiarism. So for example, you guys probably saw that entire drama with the channel Blooms, where Blooms made a video about Cedric Artman that was a South Park channel, which would write their scripts with AI and then pay some narrator to write it. But the AI, a lot of the time, I believe, would be like plagiarizing from a lot of other sources. I think that's going to become an increasing problem on YouTube because you can make so much money off of those channels. And generally, you know, generally people aren't really checking a lot of YouTube videos for plagiarism. You know, you have to go through transcripts to check for plagiarism, which is a little harder than checking an article for plagiarism, which is a lot easier. So I think that there's probably going to be quite a bit of that kind of stuff going on in YouTube because it makes so much money. Is the AI Family Guy live stream still going? I think it is, but that's not really plagiarism though. I mean, that's just funny. But I do think that's like video essays, for example, right? There's so many video essay channels on YouTube now. I feel like it's one of the biggest genres, and it makes sense. You know, I'm a part of it for sure. But I think that because there's so many people watching these essays now, I think that what's going to happen is a lot of people, when they're watching YouTube, are kind of less they're more tuned out. You know, they're not as like hip on YouTube culture. They're like young kids or old boomers. And I think they're going to end up watching a lot of AI channels unknowingly that are just plagiarizing from other sources and, you know, getting some AI narrator or like hiring a narrator to read it who doesn't even really know what's going on behind the, you know, the real channel. And I mean, even with like Cedric Artman, that guy talked about, I think he said he runs like hundreds of channels. There's no quality control going on, but he puts out enough that like if 5 of them pop off, he's making crazy money from that. So I think that AI plagiarism will become a much bigger issue, and eventually probably H-Bomber guy will make a video about it, if I had to guess.
with particular focus on Illuminaughtii.
Some poor Illuminaughtii fans out there think I'm mad at her for quoting some words slightly wrong, because they assume, in good faith, that the YouTuber they like wouldn't tell them an obvious lie. Sadly, Illuminaughtii isn't a unique story. She's just the most prominent tip of the iceberg of content mill video essay garbage.
And not only was Blair's content criticized in an essay with over 30 million views, but H-Bomber Guy made a second video entirely focused on how she plagiarizes documentaries.
A smart aleck in high school who had to write a 2,000-word essay and submitted one with 1,800 words of quotes decided to start a YouTube channel, and it's not pretty.
And that video received another 4 million views. So whatever credibility Blair was trying to cling to, that was shattered. Especially when you remember how much she clutched her pearls and cried plagiarism at Legal Eagle for a much lesser extent of imitation. This all left her with no way to convince her audience to give her another.
But that's why it's so perplexing to me. Like, surely she knows how her own channel is being run, right? Like, she must read the scripts before they go public, or at the very least have some... I mean, she's posting a lot of videos, but she must, like, kind of know at least what's going on. So she had to have known that her videos are mostly just a bunch of quotes stacked together, put on YouTube with some nice editing. That she would have... Like, you would think she would have had the self-awareness to not call out Legal Eagle. Because once again, like, this wouldn't have even happened if she hadn't called out Legal Eagle for supposedly stealing her editor's highlighter effect. We're going back to the manatees for ideas. Yes, we are. We are going back to the manatees for ideas. Shout out to the manatees and the narwhals. I remember an old video of Blair saying her mom bought her a vibrator. What? I did not know that. Okay. Also, new main channel video was good. Glad you enjoyed it. When are you going to graduate from the Smurf diapers to proper snooze? I will stay with the Smurf diapers. They're way better. I actually haven't seen that video by H-Bomber Guy about her further plagiarism.
Chance, hence the over 500,000 subscribers and counting that have left. So going into 2024, how is Blair going to pull off the greatest comeback in YouTuber history? Well, she wasn't. I mean, she was already well on the back foot before this dropped thanks to the Sad Milk creators, and the claims that H-Bomber Guy was making, there really wasn't any possible excuse. Like, the examples that he provided of plagiarism on the Illuminaughtii channel were pretty damning.
She downloads the footage and then paraphrases the voiceover, and if you're lucky, she'll briefly acknowledge she's just telling you what happened in a documentary you could have watched for yourself.
He's the grandfather of the MMR scare. The professor is semi-retired, but still charges up to
The professor is semi-retard.
$750 an hour to treat autistic children.
So this grandfather of the anti-vax movement, as he described, charges $150 an hour to treat autistic children, which, you know, is fucking ridiculous.
You're quoting another documentary. How are you getting these numbers wrong?
So she decided to carry on as if nothing happened in the hopes that everyone would just move on and let her rebuild. But they didn't. Her views plummeted to roughly 1/10 of what they were, and whatever engagement she would receive was universally negative.
But what's so funny about this is, like, people liked the content. People were watching this shit for months, for years, the same way she was doing it, that he was calling out there. They loved it. So I think that what really hit her was not the plagiarism allegations. Obviously, that's not good. But I think what really hit her is the fact that she got it from every angle, right? She got it from the angle of, like, okay, her content's ripped off, it's plagiarist, whatever. Then she got it from the angle of, like, behind the scenes, she's a horrible person. And, like, when you have both of them, like, you don't make good content and you're also a bad person behind the scenes. Like, she was just kind of... Her YouTube career, in retrospect, was like a house of cards waiting to fall.
Like, for context, I would normally consider a long-form channel to be struggling if they're not able to consistently reach 10% of their subscriber number in views. But Blair was now struggling to reach 2%, and the quality of the uploads themselves started to take a hit. See, shortly after this plagiarism scandal dropped, one of Blair's videos had a serious editing oversight where her voice was cut out for several minutes. Now, I once made a similar mistake, so, you know, it happens. Even though I had like 1,000 subscribers and I've always run the channel by myself, but I'm sure there's a really good reason for why a channel with a whole team running it could make this mistake that doesn't rely on them just being a content farm running on autopilot. But either way...
Well, that's the thing. I don't think she was even watching the edits before they went up. I think she just was like, okay, thanks for the edit, upload it, see you guys. Like, I don't think she ever really cared at a certain point. She was just, like, farming money, and that's it.
She wasn't made aware of this mistake for quite a while, since the comments to all of her videos were turned off. Yeah, when the...
There is a phenomenon on YouTube that I think that Blair didn't really appreciate, which is that, you know, all good things come to an end. You know, at the end of the day, you know, Blair's doing this content that's kind of plagiarist, it's kind of shitty, you know. But you know, like H. Bomber Guy pointed out, it's a very pervasive issue on YouTube. And at the same time, you know, she was making a lot of money from it. So, you know, was she being a shithead with the actual content? I'm not talking about behind the scenes stuff. I'm just talking about the content. Was she being a shithead with the content? Yes. But was every single video she made complete plagiarism? No. Some of them were good. People did like it. And they were relatively low effort, low investment videos that she could put out and make a bunch of money from. And, you know, it's hard to blame her on one hand for the amount of money she was making and pumping out that content so consistently, even if she was kind of facetious about how she was like fighting the good fight when really she was just making entertainment on YouTube. But the thing you have to realize, I think, when you're a YouTuber is nothing good lasts forever. If you're pumping out content like that regularly for years and years, eventually the audience will get fatigued and you will need to switch things up. You will need to change the kind of content you're doing. Everyone has to evolve on YouTube at some point. You can't just do the same thing forever. If you do, you will maintain some audience, but it won't be like it could be if you were to experiment and try to grow beyond that kind of little bubble that you're in, right? You have to be thinking about the next thing. You have to be thinking about, like, at that point in her career when Blair had that much money, if I was her, what I would be thinking about is like, all right, how do I turn this content empire I have into making like better, longer, less frequent videos that are really, really well produced and like really catch people's attention and like give me the respect that I want as a YouTuber, right? Give me like the respect of like, oh, she makes great videos. Not just like I'm a content farm, but like I'm like one of the people look up to, like Let Me Know or someone like, or like Nexpo, one of these guys, right? Like she could have done that and she wouldn't even had to try herself. She could have just paid people to do it. So I feel like that's where she should have turned to, but she didn't, you know, she didn't care. It was just so good for so long. She assumed it would never bite her in the ass, basically. She got sloppy.
Focus on You is now shifting to how you're careless and lazy with your content and can't take feedback. That's not the best set of circumstances. So after trying, and clearly failing, to power through the hate, Blair suddenly just vanished on February 15th, 2024, where she uploaded to YouTube in what has since been her last appearance online as Illuminaughtii. And for context, this was her first upload in almost a year to cross 100,000 views, but with an estimated 5% like ratio. Like, it only gained that many views because of months of people randomly coming to the channel to leave a dislike on her last upload.
I'm Lemonow's biggest glazer. His videos are great. I mean, he only uploads once in a while, but when he does, I generally will sit down and watch it and be like, damn, this is, you know, the visuals are great, but I think the thing that really makes it is the writing and the topics he chooses. But I was watching Let Me Know way back in the day. I used to watch the top 10, his channel used to be called like Top 10 Facts, and I would watch those videos. And then also he used to have, before he fully transitioned into like being the Let Me Know you know today, he had this other channel called like Let Me Know 2, where he would experiment with different types of content. One of the ones he did was this like animated story time video, and he like learned how to animate just for that video, and I thought that was pretty cool.
So while that's the last we've seen of Blair publicly, that's not to say that Blair has definitely left the internet, because yeah, she could always start a new anonymous channel and apply her knowledge of YouTube to build it until it makes an income.
And with the recent innovations in voice AI, many have speculated that that's her plan to come back without anyone knowing it's her.
So while it's going to be a hassle, she could in theory be fine in the long run. Not to mention that all evidence points to her being pretty damn rich as is.
Blair would oftentimes tell me that she herself had enough money to retire at any given moment. While she was a very successful businesswoman, and from the surface that did seem true. Blair even had a few BMWs of her own.
Plaintiff's revenue from videos, $74,646 in the period of November 23rd, 2022, December 23rd, 2022.
90% from 74 to $3,000. Oh, so she's trying to, because she's suing him for defamation, she's trying to prove damages here, right? So she's saying that she made 74 grand off her channel, almost 75, just about, in November 23rd to December 23rd. Yeah, so 1 month period. And then that dropped 1 year later to less than $3,000, basically. That's pretty brutal, dude. That's pretty brutal.
$46 in the period of November 23rd, 2022, December 23rd, 2022.
But while the Illuminaughtii brand is at a standstill, that's not to say that 2024 hasn't been an incredibly eventful year, because Blair's most recent developments have all been happening behind the scenes. If you remember, Blair's MO at this point is trying to handle things with lawyers. Basically, if she's going down, she's bringing down as many people as she can, even if that means foreclosing a home or two in the process. Which brings us to Oz Media's on.
But the thing I don't get about this is, like, she's not going to win the defamation case. Like, they had a lot of evidence for pretty much everything she said. And let's say she does win the defamation case, right? Like, she's not getting her YouTube career back. I kind of understand the house situation. Like, even if the way that he got into the situation, being Oz Media in the first place, is shitty, like, you know, obviously she wants the house if he's living in it and it's technically hers, right? But at the same time, like, the lawsuits are not really going to get you anywhere. They're not going to, like, win you back public favor. And that's why I think the reason why she's suing them is because she thinks she will be able to get back public favor, because the money she's asking them for is money they don't really have in the first place. So I think that she wants to sue them so she can get a lot of public approval from being like, I sued them, I won, look at this. They're full of shit. She's delusional? Yeah, probably. But she's also a delusional person with a lot of money, which is a dangerous position to be in. It's a dangerous person to be able to have to deal with.
Ongoing fight with Illuminaughtii. See, as he decided to fight back in court,
she thought she could bleed them dry? Definitely. I guess, I mean, honestly, you know what? Screw everything I just said. It's revenge. She wants revenge. She wanted revenge against them years ago. That's why she tried to stir up rumors about Click harboring files in his Discord server, or stir up rumors of him saying the R slur 10 years ago. So she just wanted revenge. That's it. She's vindictive. She wants to go after them forever. She won't let it go. I personally heard behind the scenes rumors about her wanting to sue other YouTubers who have covered this stuff, and basically lawyers getting back to her and being like, there's nothing you can do. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't defame you. I have heard rumors about that behind the scenes. I don't know how true that is, but through the grapevine, this has been made aware. I've been made aware through the grapevine. That's what I've heard on the Vine.
Oz Media also pledged to expose more of Blair's misdeeds to the public in what has basically been promised to be a feature-length documentary.
The reason why this video has taken so much time as it has is not only am I a one-man team producing this, but I'm also continually uncovering more segments to the story and hearing more and more voices that come forward to speak their side of things. Interviews, questionnaires, screenshots, the works. All from a number of individuals.
But while continuing to develop that, he released what he considers to be its prologue on June 1st, 2024. And for the most part, he uses this video to shine a light on the legal trickery being deployed by Blair, as well as provide Blair with an opportunity to settle this out of court. Now, it's worth noting the level of confidence that Oz maintains throughout this video.
I am fully willing to submit this video and its subsequent parts to the courts as further evidence, as I am willing to stand by these words, as I'm treating this as though I'm speaking under oath. I am also not stating this to add an air of authority to my words, as Blair's legal team has previously proposed. My lawyer is aware I'm doing this.
Because, yeah, he comes out swinging with how he characterizes Blair's retaliation through this process.
Blair's lawsuit, in my opinion, relies on the misconstruing of facts and utilizes a personally curated timeline, which she has constructed in order to gain the bare minimum standards of having this case proceed.
Well, also notice she's not suing the Click, right? I mean, it would be hard to sue him anyway because he's, you know, international. He's in, like, Sweden. But she's not suing the Click, is she? She's not going after the Click. She could try, but I think she wants to go after this guy because he's in a less fortunate position, especially. That's also why she's not suing the guy with the blue hair.
Because I'm exhausted with the, in my opinion, legal shenanigans Blair is currently pulling, this video exists. Blair is trying to paint her entire downfall on YouTube as being nothing more than my actions towards her as a jealous ex. I'm not jealous towards your current partner, Blair. Only sympathetic.
And while this initially started with Blair claiming to remove anti-swatting measures taken for Oz's safety, most of her trickery can be found on the legal side of things. Now, of course, this is all from Oz's perspective, but I'm not going to be saying allegedly and according to Oz every 2 seconds, even though most sellout YouTubers love to pad their videos for more mid-roll ads. Anyway, a key part of Blair's lawsuits are that they largely focus on the claim of slander, basically saying that Oz is part of a coordinated effort to destroy Blair with false claims unprompted. But in trying to make that argument, Blair's messaging seems to be unreliable at best.
There is currently no reference to her ever uploading this video or any of the public comments she's made, making it appear as though she never played in the mud, and her criticisms came from nowhere. My point here is that Blair's story has already had numerous revisions.
Right. I mean, she's obstructing the fact that she got fundamentally involved in this situation, which ultimately is the real thing that cost her career. Because if she had said nothing, she would have been fine. But she came out swinging and then got backlash, and that's what really killed her career. I'm not going to watch this entire video from Jimmy Robbins because I've already gone over some of the lawsuit stuff. But if you guys want to finish it, go ahead and go to his channel. I feel like, you know, looking back at the Illuminaughtii drama a year later, a lot of the time I'll think about a drama situation, right, that I've covered a while back, like, you know, anything from a year ago that I've covered extensively, which I did cover Illuminaughtii on my main channel and on the Tom Dark channel a lot. If I was fucking streaming back then, I would be absolutely... Actually, I think I was streaming back then. But if I had the stream channel, I would be posting a clip every single day when that drama was going on because it was crazy. It was a lot of fun to watch, right? When I look back at a lot of dramas, I'm like, you know what? That wasn't as crazy as people thought it was. You know, maybe it was overblown. But with Illuminaughtii, it really is not. Illuminaughtii is actually probably one of the more evil people who is not some kind of sex pest that I've covered. You know, bar, you know, people like Douglas Spink or the Giggly Goon Clown, you know, people in that league. She is so bad without being some kind of like creep or something like that. Like, she's just manipulative. She is vindictive. She wants revenge for nothing. Her content was bad. Like, from every angle, it's bad. Creepshow's a contender. I was thinking about this today because I was thinking about watching this video from Jimmy Robbins, and I hadn't seen it yet. You have like these categories of people over the years. Like, Creepshow art and Illuminaughtii kind of fit into the same category. Like, relatively overweight, unhappy women who claim to be fighting for social justice, while in reality, they are simply trying to use their position of power to bully others. In Creepshow Art's case, it was mostly publicly bullying people in her videos. But secretly, she was also doing a lot of, you know, shady shit behind the scenes, shit talking to her own friends. And then in the case of Illuminaughtii, Illuminaughtii was, you know, publicly making videos, quote unquote, exposing people. And then behind the scenes, she was doing shit that would have ruined her career if people knew from the beginning. What do we call these kinds of people? Fat emotional manipulators. I don't know. Fat liar. I think fat liar is a good one. They're kind of like Boogie. Honestly, they're both kind of like Boogie, but girls. That's what I would say. We're putting Boogie in to that realm, that category. Creepshow art is fucking crazy, dude. Creepshow art is a nut job. Wow, would you look at that? Turkey Tom with the most popular video about Creepshow art. How amazing. My penis just grew 3 sizes. Fat liar is a redundant statement. Do you think we should call them fat or just liar? My big fat Greek wedding. Are they just insecure? Insecurity is definitely a part of it. Creepshow art was an extremely jealous person for sure. As for Blair, Blair was like insecure, but her insecurity led to paranoia, extreme paranoia. And I think that's what made her try to character assassinate everyone else. Because I think she was afraid that they would all be doing the same to her and just assume that was the case, probably, for Illuminaughtii. I like the controversies without sex pests more, I think. I find them both pretty interesting. You know, sometimes I get sick of the sex pests, and then we'll get a nice non-sex pest drama, like Jake Doolittle. That was fun. There's no creeping around going on there. Or Jake Weddle. There's no creeping on going around there. That was nice to see. But then once in a while, it's like, ooh, this one's salacious. It's strange. It's degenerate. It's freaky. It's weird. And it's, you know, there's a morbid curiosity there for sure. Why not both? Well, once in a while, you do get both, and that's when you get Chris. The polycule has officially expanded. That's what you guys don't realize. The polycule has officially expanded, and we are expanding it together.